a historic day in college football. It's a historic weekend. The college football playoff is going from 4 teams to 12. It's going to start with certainty in 2026. We'll find out in the next few weeks if that can start in 2025 or 2024. There's some logistics and contracts that need to be plowed through, but money's a powerful motivator. So you have to think they left $500 million almost on the table when they didn't expand. The president's quite frankly said, forget this, forget your commissioner infighting. We're going to get this playoff done, and that's what we have now, a 12-team college football playoff, the same model that had been proposed last summer.
So can you tell us a little bit about the format? Because I know some of it was laid out, but then I also saw that if you are a team that is supposed to be hosting a game, you could choose to play it on a neutral site. Is that correct?
Yes, Harry. So it's a really interesting nuance to this playoff. There will be home field games. That's never happened in the college football playoff before any real postseason. So here's like an example for, say, if Ohio State was the 5th seed and they were going to host a game and they didn't want to play outside in the elements, they could potentially play in Indianapolis. Not Detroit, because we know they wouldn't want to go to Michigan.
Yeah.
But they could play in Indianapolis to have the indoor. They can set the venue.
So, Pete, I got to ask you, what does this mean for conferences like the ACC, Big 12, Pac-12, who beforehand, when it was a 14 playoff, they was on the outside looking in? What does that mean for them moving forward?
I think here it's huge for their stability. We're in a very chaotic time right now in college sports, and those leagues now say you can come here and play for a playoff bid. It's the 6th highest rated conference champions. So those teams are pretty much going to be included every year if you just look back statistically. So I think it's a life preserver for those leagues in a lot of ways, and it's a way for them to stay relevant and vibrant because they're always going to be part of the conversation, even though monetarily they're not competing with the Power 2.
I do want to ask about, obviously we know that this change will for sure happen in 2026. We want it to happen a little bit sooner, but there's something that has to happen in order for it to do that. You said it's complicated. What exactly needs to happen?
Yeah, Christine, so essentially it's a 14 playoff right now. ESPN has the contract to that playoff. It becomes an 11-game playoff at that point. So it goes from 3 to 11. There likely will be a preference to have multiple television shooters in that. So the expansion of that and then how it's divvied up is one thing. The other thing is there's 2 host cities involved. They're going to have to change the calendar. So our hotel's available, our game venue's available. There are a lot of logistics that go into throwing huge events like this. But my hunch is when the money's on the table, they find a way to get it done.
Oh, that means money talks.
Always.
Money talks.
All these fans here.
Oh, yes.
I'm curious for you guys because a lot of the conversation has been whether or not we should expand, and a lot of people had their, obviously they want players to be able to be healthy and stuff like that. Hey, what do you think about the expansion? What do you think about the expansion?
Well, I love it. I think it's good for college football. When you look at bowl games now and you have players basically going to get drafted in the first round, they're not playing in them. So now you go to 12 teams, they have an opportunity to actually play in those games, compete for a national championship, and that's pretty much where it lies in my book.
Yeah. I think, Christine, one thing to remember, take Purdue, for example. They're a middle-of-the-road Big Ten team. They lose their opener in heartbreaking fashion the other night. If you're Jeff Brom in this new system, you can walk into your locker room Monday and say, hey, guys, our goals are all still in front of us. Yeah. Let's go win the West. We can beat Team 12. There's about 25 to 30 teams who midway through October say, hey, if we win the rest of our games, we can get in. So in some sense, I think it juices the regular season for those who are vibrant and relevant.